YugiNoNo.
Alright guys, it is that time once again, and you have already been bugging me since the ban list has been out to update my Cyber Dragons. So that is exactly what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna be showing you my updated version of Cyber Dragons and some combos. Matter of fact, today I'm gonna show you two versions of my Cyber Dragons. One I consider to be the most optimal build, but it plays Pot of Desires and Crystal Wing and all that stuff, so I'm gonna be showing that to you second, because a lot of people don't have the money for those cards. First, I'm gonna show you my in real life, more budget build of the deck. Just a heads up, the side deck isn't quite 100% budget, but the main deck is pretty budget. You just have to ignore my rarities and stuff. Like, for example, I have ulti machine duplications, but they come in common, and I have, you know, secret power bonds, for example, but once again, those come in common. So as long as you ignore some of my rarities, you can build this deck on a really small budget. But without any further ado, let's begin. Of course, we start off with 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. Your level 5, 2100 attack classic. This guy is just, he is just that, guys. He's a classic. And then next up, we have the best monster in the deck, Cyber Dragon Core. And why I always say that he's the best monster is because he is the best monster. He allows you to go into some insane combos in this deck because his name is treated as Cyber Dragon, so you machine dupe on Cyber Dragon Core, bring out 2 Cyber Dragons, and just go off from there. It's crazy. Not to mention, he is the search card for your search card, which is Cyber Repair Plants, of course, and you can banish him from the graveyard if you have no monsters and your opponent controls a monster, and special summon any copy of Cyber Dragon from the deck, including himself. So you can core for core, machine dupe for core, 2 Cyber Dragons from deck. It's just a combo-licious card. And to wrap up your 9 base Cyber Dragons, of course, you play 3 copies of Dry. He has 1800 attack, which isn't terrible at all. When he's normal summoned, he lets you make all Cyber Dragons you control level 5, and that allows you to immediately go into Nova. And since I cut Power Bond down in this deck, I actually cut out Zwei, because Zwei is pretty much the worst Cyber Dragon anyways. Like, he's the best of the worst Cyber Dragons, but he is nowhere near as good as these base 9. These base 9 are your best Cyber Dragons. So I replaced him with Golden Jet because this allows you to go into Pallades easier anyways. Like, Golden Jet's a card I used to play, and every now and then in my builds I bring it back, I take it away. It depends on if I'm playing the 3 Power Bond build. If I'm playing the 3 Power Bond build, I replace this with Zwei. If I'm playing more of a rank 5 build, then I play Golden Jet. It's just, it goes back and forth. And then you play 3 copies of Galaxy Soldier, which is also combo-licious. Not only is he a level 5, but he searches another copy of himself, which is incredible and allows you to keep your combos going. And then I do still play the Kaijus. I play 3 Jizukiru, and you play him because you can Kaiju away your opponent's monster, summon a Cyber Dragon, and then go into Chimera Tech. It's just really good. And I also do have some extensive combos involving the Kaijus that I'm going to show you later in the video when I get to the combos. So be sure to keep watching for that, because I'm going to be going over a ton of combos in this video this time around, guys. And then I play 1 Dogeron and 1 Gamer Seal. I did decide to play another level 8 of being Dogeron, and that plays into the combo that I invented that I'm going to show you guys later in the video. And I did show the combo in my last Cyber Dragon video. I'm going to show you guys the combo again later, but since these guys are 8s and Chimera Tech is an 8, and you summon these guys off the Kaiju Slumber, you can overlay for number 38, which is really good and negates a spell, and it's a 3000 body. And then sadly, Max C is down to 1 now, but I still play 1 Max C because it is extremely powerful going second, just like the Kaijus as always. And for this build, I am playing 2 Quick Draw Synchron, this being the more budget of the builds like I was saying earlier. And Quick Draw Synchron is a level 5. It lets you pitch any monster from your hand, not just a light monster, unlike Galaxy Soldier, so you can still combo off of this card. Plus it's a tuner, which allows you to go into Zolkin, which is essentially like playing, you know, more copies of Instant Fusion, so you don't have to burn your Instant Fusion to go into Theseus, for example. Like, this card is pretty dang good in the deck. Alright, moving on to the spells, you play 3 copies of Cyber Repair Plant, which is your search card. It lets you search for any light machine, and that includes Galaxy Soldier and Jizukiru. This card is incredible. Some people cut this card down to 2, but man, I have played Cyber Dragons for so long, guys. I love playing 3 of this. People must have trouble keeping like a Cyber Dragon in their graveyard for some reason for this card's activation requirement, but I'm going to show you guys at least 1 combo later that really helps with that, and I think it'll clear things up and make you want to run 3 of this card. And then I run 3 copies of Instant Fusion because this card is also very combo-licious in the deck. Like, if you open up Galaxy Soldier, Instant Fusion, Core, and like Machine Duplication, I mean, you're gonna get like this insane board. And like I said, I'll show you all those combos later in the video. And then sadly, you only play 2 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber now. I would still be playing 3 if it was a 3, guys. This card is incredible. And this card, like I was trying to explain earlier, can also be pretty combo-licious, and it gives you a lot of momentum. It really does. And then once again, instead of playing Desires and all that, I'm only playing 2 Power Bond. The reason why I cut this down to 2, I mean, you could play 3, but I got tired of opening up with 2 of these, especially going first, because this deck wants to go second and it doesn't want to go first, really. I've done some things to the deck that make going first easier on it. Opening up 2 Power Bond going first, you're probably going to lose. Opening up Power Bond going second, though, I mean, you go into Rampage Dragon and you might just win. I mean, like, Rampage Dragon's a good card. But yeah, then I play my spicy tech card, which is Reasoning. Reasoning helps you get out, like, Kaijus from your deck and stuff. It's just, this card is ridiculous, guys. This card is really ridiculous. Plus, like, at the very worst, like, if your opponent calls 5, for example, which they probably will, and you hit a Cyber Dragon, I mean, you have a Cyber Dragon in your grave for Cyber Repair Plant, so it's not absolutely terrible, but yeah, Reasoning is it's just the best tech card for the deck. That and Foolish Burial, because Foolish Burial going second for core is also really, really good. Another tech card I play is Soul Charge, because, you know, this could further your combos. Now that I think about it, this deck is pretty teched out, because I also play Tuning to search the Quick Draw Synchron, and then I play Night Beam because D-Barrier sucks. But the last 2 cards of the deck are staple. There's Raigeki and then Upstart Goblin, just for consistency purposes. Okay, guys, so moving on to the extra deck, you play 2 copies of the best card in the extra deck, which is Cyber Dragon Nova. This card, I cannot say enough, is just incredible, guys. It does everything. It lets you detach a material to special summon any Cyber Dragon from your graveyard, lets you banish a Cyber Dragon to double its attack to 4,200, and then on top of all that, it floats. Like, if this thing gets Solemn Warning, you can actually bring out a Rampage Dragon from your extra deck, like a level 5, and then, like, continue your combo, for example, or even bring out a Barboroid, which is something I used to do because Barboroid was 4,000 attack, 4,000 defense, and yeah, and this card can float out into Barboroid, which is really good. And on top of all the amazing things that this card lets you do, it lets you slap an Infinity on top of it. So it lets you in your boards, you know, your first turn boards, for example, really broken. And Infinity lets you negate anything during either player's turn. It lets you suck up an opponent's attack position monster, and it gains attack for every material that's underneath it. Infinity is also an amazing card. And then I play 1 Pleiades, which is also an amazing card, and I have a sweet, sweet combo to show you with Pleiades later, so be sure to watch that, because it plays into what I was talking about earlier with Cyber Repair Plant. So yeah, it's a crazy combo that I came up with, and I can't wait to show you guys. And then play number 38, which is what I was talking about earlier. I'm also going to be showing you that combo. And because I play Norden in the extra deck, I play a Castell, because Castell, you know, lets you just out random stuff, like random face-up stuff, which is great. And then for the fusions, I play 2 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which, you know, lets you advance game state, not only by letting you go into number 38, but also letting you get rid of the Jizukiru, the 3,300 attack Jizukiru at that you gave your opponent to get rid of their monster. This card is just incredible. This card has been a staple in Cyber Dragons for so long. And then I play 1 Rampage Dragon. I only play 1 Power Bond target. The reason behind it is because you're probably not going to see 2 in one game, and you only need 1, and the extra deck space is so tight right now anyways, so yeah, only 1 Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. But this card is really good, I mean, on its own. It's 4,200 attack, you know, off of Power Bond, lets you swing 3 times with its effect, and it pops cards when it comes out. So I've actually Power Bond on purpose with this thing to pop cards. I'm not gonna lie, it just happens. And speaking of popping cards off of fusion, you can technically do that same thing with Panzer Dragon, but usually you use Panzer Dragon to further your combos with Nova. But yeah, I have instant fusion for this card and let it die off of instant fusion to pop a card. I'm not gonna lie, just it's a techie thing that you can do with this deck. And then I play 1 Theseus, of course, to go into Zolkin, and then I play the Norden to go into the Castell, of course. And speaking of Zolkin, I play 1 Zolkin, and like I was saying earlier in the video, because this is more of a budget build for the deck, I'm playing Michael in this deck besides the Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing is more optimal though, guys, being 3,000 attack and being able to negate effect monster effects, but especially going first, like, you know, Crystal Wing is more optimal, but Michael is also a great card that lets you out things because you pay 1,000 life points, right? It's 1,000, yeah. Lets you pay 1,000 life points to target 1 card on the field and banish it. So this helps you out boards as well, and it can still attack when it uses its effect, and 2,600 attack. It's not terrible at all, so yeah, it's just a more budget-friendly thing to go into off of Zolkin. And to the side deck, a lot of this stuff you can ignore if you're a budget player. For example, I think Dinkos are still expensive, but I play Dinkos. I've had these for a long time, and you know, I played them in Metal Foes. I played them in so many other decks. The Dinko Sekka is just an awesome card, and I play it because I hate Paleozoics. Paleozoics suck to play against. This card can be kind of tricky to play around in this deck, but it's so worth it, because, like, screw Paleos, like, for real. And then I play 3 DD Crows, because it's decent versus, like, anything, you know, especially, like, DDDs, because you, like, banish their Lamia, for example. People are still playing that deck because it's budget, and, like, you banish their Lamia, and they pretty much lose next turn because, you know, you like to go second anyways, and they like to go first, so if you can, like, prevent them from, like, making their broken-ass board, you can usually win, and how you prevent them from making a broken ass board is you crow their Lamia, and it's just great. And I got tired of losing going first, so you know, in game 2 people will make you you know, obviously go first because of the kaijus and everything, so you gotta play Swift Scarecrows, guys. I added this card back, plus it does have some synergy in the deck. If you wanted to add the Parapsychroid, if you wanted to, you can add Parapsychroid to the extra deck to give it some synergy with Power Bond. I can't find room because of the Zolkin and Michael, but if you wanted to take out Zolkin and Michael and Theseus, then you could add room for, you know, a third Power Bond and, like, you know, more Power Bond targets, but to each their own, guys. And if you guys don't know what Parapsychroid is, it's this card right here. You can also use it as an instant fusion target, as well as only taking 2 machines, so you can Power Bond into it. This card does have some great synergy in the deck if you choose to play it, but I just found, you know, a hard time making room in the extra deck for it. So yeah, to each their own, like I was saying. This card is also a great card in the deck. And next up, I play 1 copy of Elton in case you don't have enough board wipes for whatever reason, on top of the Slumbers and the Raigeki and all that. You could still play Elton and wipe your opponent's board. It sends everything to the graveyard, doesn't destroy, doesn't target. This card is just fantastic, plus it gains attack for every machine that you banish for its effect. It's just so strong. And then I play 3 copies of Magical Spring because, you know, people are still playing Pendulum stuff. People are still playing, like, Zoo Metal Foe and, like, all that stuff. So Magical Spring is still pretty decent, I guess. It's not as good as it was in, like, Metal Foe format, but it's still okay. You could probably honestly swap this for something else. And then I'm citing 1 copy of Twin Twisters because I hate back row. And then Solemn Warning because, once again, that's the same thing as the Swift Scarecrows. It's because going first with this deck, you do lose if you don't open, like, just the nuts. You can lose pretty easily going first with this deck. So having the warning with the Scarecrows, it helps. And plus Scarecrows, people are still running around with Mermail, believe it or not, for whatever reason. And Scarecrow's pretty good against that Mermail FTK as well, or OTK, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's just like, this is for going first, guys. That's all it is. I got tired of losing going first, and this is just to help with that, and there's no other reason behind it. So like I showed you guys on my Facebook page, this is card for card the build for Cyber Dragons that I was going with, and what I consider to be the most optimal build for Cyber Dragons. To each their own. Some people like the Invoked, some people still try to play the Brilliant Fusion Engine. I think the Brilliant Fusion Engine makes it really cloggy. I've really given it a shot. I mean, I really have, but this deck I just considered to be the most optimal until this new list, and this new list kind of messed things up because now this right here is what I consider to be the most optimal. You guys' opinions are going to vary. I personally like the Tecton Quick Draw Synchron and the Tecton Tuning. I use Tuning to replace the 3rd Slumber that was taken away from us, but you could add a Dark Hole if you wanted to, and I just like Tuning, guys. And I also like Night Beam over Twin Twisters now because I hate D Barrier, and like I'm about to show you in the combos, you don't need Twin Twisters to dump a Cyber Dragon in the grave for repair plants. You really don't need it. It's not necessary. But if you feel the need to blow out more back row than just 1, then go ahead and by all means play Twin Twisters. Okay, so now moving on to the combos with this deck. For the most basic combo, we're going to start off with Cyber Dragon Dry and Kaiju Slumber. You can also pull this combo off with these 3 monsters, but it's easier to pull it off with just having 2 cards, right? I'm going to show you guys this basic combo, and then I'm going to show you extensions or possible extensions off of the combo. So first up, we're going to activate Kaiju Slumber to wipe the board clean. You're going to give your opponent the Jizukiru. You're going to give yourself the Dogoran. I like to get Dogoran out of the deck first, and then you summon either Core or Dry. And then of course you are going to contact fuse with your Cyber Dragon and Jizukiru for Chimera Tech. From here you could swing for 5,000 damage, and then main phase 2, you overlay into number 38. Still one of my favorite combos in the deck, and it helps advance game state. Now, one crazy combo that you could pull off going second, and this is a very extensive combo. It's going to start off the same way that you started the other one. You're going to activate the Slumber, give yourself the Dogoran, for example, give yourself the either Dogoran or the Gamer Seal works. I choose to get Dogoran out of the deck first, by the way, like I said earlier. And then from here, you normal summon Cyber Dragon Core, activate Core's effect, and then you're going to go ahead and get a search for a Cyber Repair Plant, which is just broken. You activate Machine Duplication, which which lets you get out 2 copies of Cyber Dragon from your deck. And then from here, you can go ahead and contact Fuse, which is gonna give you your Chimera Tech, which also puts a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard to make Cyber Repair Plant alive, which is reason number 1 why you should play 3 of this card, because it's great. Because now with this hand, I don't even have to search anything to advance my combo. I already know for a fact. But next turn, I can actually search a Jizukiru, for example, to out my opponent's board. So that's just one example right there why you should play 3. And then from here, you're going to overlay your Cyber Dragons for your first Nova. You detach Cyber Dragon, and since you already have a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, you can go ahead and get out Cyber Dragon, the one you just detached. Then you can go ahead and slap an Infinity on the Nova, and then you can activate your Galaxy Soldier from your hand, summoning itself, and then he's going to trigger. Then he's going to give you another copy of Galaxy Soldier from your deck to your hand. Then you go ahead and overlay for Cyber Dragon Nova number 2, detach, summon, same motion, and then bam, like you basically win. You have 5 monsters on board, so you can't activate Reasoning. This card really didn't matter in the combo anyways, but if you did want to make room, you could overlay these 2 for, you know, number 38 again, for example, and then you could activate Reasoning if you wanted to. I mean, the combos are just pretty endless with this deck as long as you open up with the right pieces. And once again, we didn't even have to get a search off of Repair Plant. We could still search for a Jizukiru out for anything if they managed to out this board next turn, which is great. Okay, now I'm going to show you a going first combo on how to get a search for a Cyber Repair Plant and to make it live without using Foolish Burial. And we're going to start this off by summoning Cyber Dragon Core, and then of course getting our search for our Repair Plants. And the only other card we need to have in our hand is Machine Duplication once again. Then what you do is you get out 2 Cyber Dragons just like you normally would. Like I said, other cards in your hand do not matter, just the Repair Plant. Then what you're going to do is you're going to overlay, and you're going to go into Constellar Pleiades. And what you do is you detach from the Pleiades, bouncing the core to your hand, and then wham bam, not only do you have a light in your hand for a Galaxy Soldier or a monster in your hand for a Quick Draw Synchron, for example, but you have a Cyber Dragon in your grave now, which lets you search for your Galaxy Soldier, so you can go ahead and search for that real quick. And then from there, I mean, depending on what else you have in your hand, at least you have 1 other light, so you can, you know, further your combo from there. This is a play I invented a long time ago that for some reason I never showed you guys on camera, but since I've seen people cut Repair Plant down to 2, I think they just have trouble, you know, getting Cyber Dragons in the grave for Repair Plant to make it live. But if you play smart, you should never have a problem with it. Like every now and then I'll have a problem with it, but it's usually because I just have a bad hand. Okay guys, so next I'm going to show you a really stupid combo that I pulled off the other day. It involves Foolish Burial going first. Notice I'm starting with 5 cards. And the first thing you have to do is Foolish Burial for Cyber Dragon, and then from here you're actually off to the races. I'm gonna show you how. So you activate Galaxy Soldier, pitching Cyber Dragon, of course. You search another copy of Galaxy Soldier, and then you instant fuse, activate Instant Fusion for Theseus. And then you go ahead and contact Synchro, or whatever it's called, for Zolkin. And then you set your Soul Charge from your hand, which then gets you out, ideally, you know, Crystal Wing like I was saying earlier, but you can get out Michael, that's fine. And then you activate Soul Charge, you pay however many life points you want. I only paid 2 and got out 1 Cyber Dragon and 1 Galaxy Soldier. And then what I did is I overlaid, and then I went into Nova, and then detached from Nova, getting out the Cyber Dragon, and then slapped an Infinity on the Nova. So I ended up with without was spent. So I ended up starting my hand with 5 cards and ending my board with 4 monsters on the board and 1 monster in hand, which is actually not completely terrible at all. And I've pulled off a very similar combo in the past. Instead of going into Theseus, using Quick Draw Synchron as the tuner to make Zolkin. Quick Draw Synchron is just kind of an extra card in the deck to keep it budget. Ideally though, like I explained earlier, you want to play Pot of Desires. It's just a +1 and it's just so good. Alright guys, I really hope that you enjoyed the video and that I explained the deck in enough detail for you. I could probably talk for hours and hours about Cyber Dragon. I tried to sum up everything as quickly as I could, while still giving you guys a pretty broad idea of all the combos and situations that you could be in. Like the Kaiju engine in this deck, I feel like this deck plays the Kaiju engine better than anything really, because of the Chimera Tech play, of course. I feel like that this deck plays Theseus really well because you have all these these spells that you could just set and then flip up and activate. It's just so good. But yeah, be sure to let me know what you think about this deck down in the comment section. I would love to know about you guys' spicy tech cards and all of that stuff. And as always, don't forget to dick slap that like button and subscribe.